and welcome. The air we breathe is turning toxic. Our rivers are becoming more and more polluted with the passing day, and there's tons of garbage piling up in our cities. India is sitting on an environmental time bomb. And joining us on the Right to be Heard Town Hall today, Union Environment Minister Mrs. Jayathi Natarajan. Thank you very much, ma'am. Welcome to the Town Hall. This gentleman here would like to begin by asking the first question. Sir.
Thousands of crores of rupees have been spent on Yamuna Action Plan, on Ganga Action Plan, and many other plans. Thousands of people actually marched from Vrindavan to Delhi to seek their river back. Now, there was an uproar in the parliament where you made a statement, and your statement was that you will create a commission, a national commission, that will take care of the atrocities against rivers. Now, what do you mean by this? And when will this commission be made? And when will these atrocities against rivers be stopped?
Yes, there was a very big march from Vrindavan, Mathura to Delhi. We met all the representatives, and you're absolutely right that it is the Yamuna, particularly the part that flows near Delhi, is nothing but a giant sewer, and emergency action needs to be taken. And indeed, I stated in Parliament that I feel that it is important to create a commission where people should be sued for atrocities against rivers. The reason I said this is because you'll be surprised that although industrial effluent, that is the waste that comes out of industries, is absolutely toxic in terms of the chemical composition, the majority of the pollutants in all rivers, including the Yamuna and the Ganga, are domestic sewage, untreated domestic sewage that's flowing into the river and therefore making the river into a sewer. So that was what I called an atrocity against the river, and we need to stop it. Sewage treatment plants, what has happened to the money that was set aside under the Yamuna Action Plan? I'm going to be absolutely honest. I'm not going to give you political answers. That money has been spent, and sewage treatment capacity has been created. Unfortunately, the sewage treatment plants are not linked to the sewerage networks of the municipalities. Sometimes there's no electricity, and therefore the sewage goes straight into the river. The only other thing I'd like to say as the minister is that the money has not gone waste. Had we not spent this money, the situation would be much worse than what it is already. And it is pretty bad now.
No, but timelines have been set for when the river would get cleaned up, and each of those timelines get missed. More and more money is spent. The gentleman has a very valid question. You're creating commission after commission, but the river's quality is not improving at all.
It is improving, Rahul. Actually, I have the facts and figures to show in a very minor way. For example, let me give you an example. For example, during the Kumbh, the Maha Kumbh, we said, okay, we are going to do this on a war footing. We're going to make the Maha Kumbh something that people can actually, participate in. It's a massive festival, not just religious, hugely symbolic, but also it's a massive festival. And over a 7-month period, the Central Board for Pollution Control and I, along with the states, nothing can be done without the cooperation of the states. We worked to close down polluting industries. We worked to make sure that the sewage was not discharged, and we cleaned it up. It was fit for bathing. People did go and bathe. So it can be done. It is done on a war footing. It is being done even now, but it's being, it's a very marginal. It's a very marginal improvement in quality.
Madam, you mentioned the water quality in the Ganga improved significantly during the Kumbh region, and during the Kumbh Mela period, I read the data, and although it wasn't suitable for bathing, it was near suitable for bathing. And the way this was achieved was a two-pronged effort. One was release of water, as you well know, and the second was shutdown of industry. But neither of this is sustainable. So how can you be appreciative of solutions that are so myopic in short term?
I don't think they're myopic in that sense. I take your point. It is this was done for a specific period of time, and we were able to sustain it. There is no way that we can shut down industry. I think the regulation of the industry is far more important. I think, therefore, for the long term, to make it sustainable, we need to show industry that we mean business. That's what there are 761 grossly polluting industries along the Ganga. And if I show them that I mean business, that if they allow effluent to come into the Ganga, that I will shut them down, then they will be serious about not allowing that effluent
So
to
why
flow
don't you
in.
shut them down?
No, we did during then we do.
No, but why don't you have, but that, as he says, is a temporary solution. What's the permanent solution to the problem?
No, I say we force them to comply. If they don't comply, they will be shut down, even permanently.
But we've been trying to get them to comply for the last several decades and they haven't.
No, but now we are making them do it. Now we are cracking the whip on. We inspected over 381 were forced to comply with them. We'll have to continue doing it.
Yeah,
The
sorry.
Central Board of Pollution Control sits in Delhi, right? I mean, mainly we are an advisory and technical body. It is the state governments. We need the cooperation of the state pollution control boards to be our eyes and ears. And we will do it. I mean, we have the power to do it, provided it's an effort where, I do get that information. We do have water quality monitoring stations. We do monitor all along Ganga at over 2,000 locations. But unless that information comes to us, we can't exercise it. We do exercise it immediately when we get that information.
Yeah, go on.
It's often said that industry manages the pollution control boards better than pollution. So how do we change and how do we work on more effective regulation?
That's a very good question, and it is a tough call. Pollution, water, air, all this is something I think which is absolutely fundamental to the life of the ordinary citizen. It's unfortunate, but I have no hesitation in admitting that our systems are not sufficient to properly monitor pollution. We simply don't have the kind of systems that we need to monitor the pollution in every river, at every place.
So what are you doing to build capacity?
We are building capacities in the sense that we're trying to computerize it, so that, for example, if it is air or online pollution monitoring, so that you get it at the click of a computer mouse sitting in the office of the regional office, you find out that the air is not all right in a particular place, and then you go there and you check which industry it is. We're trying to make it more computerized. Same won't work for water. I think we really need to have the state pollution control boards on board with us, and the municipalities, which are absolutely important. Unless the people in every village and every town along those rivers and water bodies realize the importance and do not discharge sewage and make those adjustments, it's not going to be possible to do it.
My question is regarding an RTI filed by the students of our school about the third Yamuna action plan. Now, the government claims to be transparent, but it's been a year. We still haven't received any response from the government on the details of the Yamuna action plan.
Of how the money is being spent. They want to know if 5,500 crores have been spent. How is that money spent? Where is it gone?
Oh, well, I can tell you very clearly, I'm sorry you have not received a response. You should have received a response, and I will make sure you get it when I go back. Well, the money is very carefully divided. There are the main states and areas where we spend it. It is divided in a ratio of 70-30, 70% to be spent by the central government and 30% to be spent by the state government. Most of the money goes towards creation of sewage treatment plants, of sewage treatment capacity. Some of it goes towards repairing existing sewerage networks, but most of it goes towards creating a sewage treatment plant which can treat the sewage that is generated by the city.
Okay, the lady here.
Ma'am, my question is about this huge water crisis that we are going to face, and we are already facing. But what about those wetlands that we had, the water bodies that we had, which are being encroached upon? The forest areas are in and around the area are being destroyed, but taken up by the builders. It's complete destruction, and these are water recharge bodies which would have helped recharge the groundwater for us.
I totally agree with you. In fact, according to our rules, according to the rules of environment, the Impact Assessment, the Environment Protection Act, our wetlands are a treasure to be preserved. It's a tremendous biodiversity area which we are bound by law to protect, and we do. Even now, recently near Delhi, I had stopped the builders from going ahead in Okla, where those wetlands were being encroached upon. My problem is, wherever I get a complaint or wherever I get the information, it is only then that I can move. Otherwise, it's the state government which will have to move.
I live in Vasant Kunj, ma'am, and for the past 3 years, we as a group, just a group of people, citizens, who've been fighting for a water body called Neela Hawz, which is near JNU. It's an old water body, a beautiful water body, which had migratory birds coming to it, which had a forest very close by, which has, a lot of wildlife also, which needs to be protected. And there are similar kinds of water bodies all over Vasant Kunj in that ridge area, which are completely dry now, taken up by either temples or, or some mall or something like that, and gone completely.
No, I totally appreciate your concern. I'll be happy to take it up if you get in touch with me. It is something that the state government can take up also. But we do have powers in the center under the Environment Protection Act, and I will be more than happy to use it if I get the details.
Okay.
Wetlands are environment habitats.
Yes.
And therefore they are not a state subject strictly when it comes to preservation of environmental habitats and biodiversity. Ma'am, the identification of wetlands is really a responsibility of the central government. The citizens can update the central government on wetlands, but identification and their protection, because right now what is happening is that all the developers and all of them are eyeing these areas, and if these areas are not clearly identified as wetlands, then these are all going to be usurped, just like Uran, which is in Navi Mumbai, which is already totally been taken up by industries, and it has become a complete industrial zone, and all the migratory birds and all have gone away from there, and there is no wetland there anymore.
Well, yes, it is. I don't know if, how far I certainly, in my ministry, we do not have the resources to identify all the wetlands in the nation. We do have identified wetlands which we monitor carefully. India is a signatory to the Ramsar Convention, and we have very strict policies regarding wetlands. And if I hear of a wetland being encroached upon by builders, I will take immediate steps to stop it. But
No, but she's citing examples of
I'm
wetlands
saying
which
we
have
don't
already
have
been
the
taken over.
resources to do that. We don't do it. I mean, I cannot. I do not have the staff, the resources, the capacity, the mandate even to go around identifying. I wish I did, but my entire budget for the ministry, including the forest part, is 2,000 crores for a year. So we do not have those kind of resources.
Okay.
Ma'am, you spoke about regulations. However, the MOEF's Municipal Solid Waste Management and Handling Rules of 2000 are being violated in almost every municipal corporation in the country. We have garbage piling up on street corners. It's being taken to dump yards. Segregation is not being done at all. There's money allocated for awareness programs, but where are the awareness programs? When is your ministry going to take this issue seriously? It's causing so much of, it's causing an unhealthy environment, pollution, toxic seepage into groundwater. When is your ministry going to take this seriously?
We are taking it. We do take it extremely seriously, and we are to the extent that it lies within our power, impressing upon state governments and municipalities that these rules have to be followed very scrupulously. However, please understand what our limitations are. For example, very serious issues of, we are going to talk, maybe we'll talk about development a little later, but even so, if I have very strong reservations that in a particular state that these forests should not be cut down, the entire state assembly feels that this is not a good idea, that what I'm saying is wrong. Well, it has to be a balance of what we believe in, isn't it? I represent one person. My ministry is one ministry. We have rules. We cannot walk into a state, 20 towns in a state, and arrest the mayors, for example, for not doing what they should be doing. And I don't believe it will serve a purpose.
No, but that, ma'am, is not an adequate answer. There is tons of garbage piling up in all our big cities, and the government doesn't have a plan on what to do about it.
I'm sorry, we are getting mixed up between the work of municipality and the environment ministry. Okay, we have waste management rules which relate to very distinct thing, hazardous waste, for example, or how you segregate the way, how plastic will become something that is extremely dangerous. How the municipality deals with the waste is something for the municipality to really answer.
Your rules can be violated by any municipality and municipal corporation, and your ministry will do nothing about it?
But that's not,
that what
that's
rules
not
are
the right
for?
attitude. It's a democracy. I cannot go and arrest the mayor because the mayor of a city, no, I cannot do it. I don't even have a power to arrest. Nor do I believe it's the right way to do it. I think awareness program, democracy is a slow process. I'm not defending it. I think it's wrong. I think that stern action needs to be taken. But I believe, and I have no hesitation in saying this, that it is the people of that city or township who will have to then not vote for that party or person who didn't do it. And that is the only way to do it. Because I can say, what should I say? Should I pass orders saying that now this municipal mayor is removed and the municipality? I don't even have those powers.
No, madam. Only get the rules enforced.
Against whom?
Against the municipal corporation.
Saying what?
Saying what the rules say.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not entering into. I'm just trying to make you understand. The rules say this. We therefore conduct awareness classes. We send our people there. We issue a notice to the municipality. If it's a factory, I can close it down. Under Section 5 of the Environment Protection Act, I can say you're not following my rules. I'm closing you down. Can I close down a municipality? No, I can't do that.
Okay.
Ma'am, it's been a year since the e-waste rules have come in, and under that producers have the responsibility to establish take-back systems on ground.
Absolutely.
But if we see on ground, nothing has been done, and especially if we talk about the local brands, they're not at all in the scene. So what government is actually doing so that these producers play their part, as they are the key stakeholders?
No, e-waste rules are we have very specific e-waste rules. First of all, we don't allow particular types of equipment, that kind of e-waste to even enter the country. Sometimes it's good business, for example, to import second-hand machinery and allow those computers and so on, allow those to be used in the country, and then that becomes e-waste. People send their seconds over here. We've got very, very strict rules to ensure that that kind of e-waste does not enter the country. As far as the e-waste generated within the country, we do our best to ensure that these rules are very carefully followed, just like any polluting industry, and even more so whenever it is the state pollution control boards and state departments which are meant to monitor it. But beyond that, if we get any complaints, we take immediate action.
Okay. The lady next door.
Ma'am, we've been working on biomedical waste for last 15 years since the rules have been in place, and the Central Pollution Control Board, which is supposed to compile all the data on the management of the rules in the country, we've been following the reports since 2006, since they've been starting putting their data on the internet. And one very good trend that's coming up is since 2006, when the compliance rate was 50%, the board has somehow decided to increase 10% compliance every year. So by 2010-11, we were on 90% compliance. And I think maybe 2014 will be 120% compliant. I mean, is this some mockery of biomedical waste, ma'am? And especially when WHO says that 30% of the syringes in India are reused. And 32% of new HPV, hepatitis B, which is a very deadly virus, ma'am, 32% of new HPV cases are due to mismanagement of biomedical waste. And India saw Modasa district in Gujarat saw 60 deaths in a row due to mismanagement of biomedical waste. Ma'am, we've got very short memories. What's your ministry, ma'am? What's your take?
I think you're making me larger than life. My ministry, biomedical waste is serious business. I don't take your concern lightly at all. It's extremely serious business and needs to be dealt with an iron hand. No question about it. And we are doing our best. If hospitals are unscrupulous enough to reuse syringes, then there's little we can do about it. I mean, I hate to say this, I'm a part of the same government, but within a hospital, what they do is what they do. How you deal with the waste outside, I can lower the boom on the hospital if that waste is not dealt with. As far as I know, I've not heard of any outstanding cases of terrible negligence in dealing with biomedical waste of major hospitals. If it's a private hospital, we'll close it down. If it's a government hospital, we put them on strict notice.
But this is already happening.
No, but
there have been stories that have been done, reports have been done. How many hospitals have you shut down because they were not dealing with biomedical waste?
No, only some small ones. No major ones have been shut down. But then they are dealing with it. It is not that the issue, what she's raised, which is a very important issue, is reuse of syringes and so on, which is something that happens before it becomes waste. It ought to be waste, but the hospital is reusing it, which is a completely different issue from environment management.
Ma'am, there have been show cause notices issued, and we've done regular surveys, and we did a survey last year, and Patel Chest Institute, the biggest institute for tuberculosis, they were managing their waste badly. And I mean, tuberculosis, we are running after the DOTS program, and we don't know to manage our waste, which is spreading tuberculosis in India, and this in the premier institute like Patel Chest. So I mean, we go around India, we've been doing regional programs with a lot of states. We do regional trainings because we're based in Delhi. But I mean, we've been citing Delhi as a case study, you know, that a lot of hospitals are doing good job. But if premier institutes like, you know, Patel Chest and AIIMS and Safdarjung were also booked in 2004, and since then they've been doing good job. But I think these premier setups should pay some attention to this, because they've got everything. They've got infrastructure, they have capacity, they've got everything, ma'am.
Well, I think I totally agree with your point, and taking forward what you said, if I should generate more awareness that premier institutes, all hospitals should set standards, well, I'll take that as a takeaway from this particular television show, and make sure that we highlight that.
You're watching the Right to be Heard Town Hall. One of the constant allegations leveled against the Environment Ministry is that it's become the biggest impediment to growth. That industry wants to grow, the Environment Ministry acts as an obstacle. Jayathi Natarajan is with us. She's vehemently denying this charge. But let's take some questions. We've got Harsh Goenka, who sent a question for you, Minister.
Madam, in most infrastructure projects, the viability is based on a certain time period for which the implementation is taken. However, we see because of environment and forest clearances, there are a lot of delays. Is there a way by which you can give clearance within a time frame? Also, it would help the India Incorporated if there could be a system of one window clearance.
Well, Mr. Goenka has raised a very important question. First of all, that we do have a time frame, and that is stipulated in the Act, not in the Act, Environment Impact Notification, and that time frame is 240 days. If it's not done within that time frame, it's taken to be a deemed clearance. Number two, there are no hurdles, there is no delay. Anybody who bothers to look at the website of my ministry, even today, right now, you will see where each case is, where it's pending. And in our own defense, I'd like to say that it's seriously overstated, this issue of delay, because roughly 78% of all environment clearances are done by the state. 17% are done by the regional office. 8% come to my ministry at the center, only the very big projects. This is forest. For environment clearance, only particular category of projects, ECs, come to the center. We have no delays, nothing, not even one file is pending on my table as I sit here.
But here's the reality. Thousands of crores have been spent on POSCO, on Vedanta, where industry first gets permission from the apparatus. And I'm not just blaming you in particular. I'm saying they've got permission from the state government or from some previous environment minister. Work begins, money gets spent, and suddenly later the rules of the game change. India has become the laughing stock internationally, and investors are now petrified about investing in our country.
No, this is a complete myth, Rahul. I'm so glad you raised this question. And I would like to raise an equally important question. Let's just take any big company, any company, any individual, any consortium that spent 10 or 15 or 20,000 crores. It is not that person's money; it's the nation's money. It belongs to all of us.
It's the industry's money.
Yeah, it is a nation's. It belongs to all of us. Nobody, you will lose sleep over it. You don't want that money to be wasted. My question is as follows: why, therefore, lend money to for a project which does not have the clearances already in place? Why are banks doing this? It is very important for financial institutions to ensure that all clear, to do their due diligence. Why do you, when a person, a previous minister, whichever minister, we are a continuing entity, whichever government, I'm talking for the ministry. I have a law that says unless there's forest clearance, I cannot, a Supreme Court judgment, Lafarge, which says that unless the forest clearance is also in place, environment clearance is not valid, because you get an environment clearance, you build a factory for 20,000 crores, and then you're rejected forest clearance. And, you know, on the other hand, just because you've built a factory for 20,000 crores, should I destroy the best forest that this country has ever had? Be presented with a fait accompli situation. That's totally wrong. So my question is, why do financial institutions let them achieve the financial closure and present us with a fait accompli situation? That shouldn't happen, number one. Number two, before the clearances are in place, it's called pending. Number three, often industry, project proponents do not even fill up the forms properly. They don't even fill up the complete information properly. They don't even have the coordinates of the places where they want to be filled in properly. And then it's called pending. And everything is laid at the doorstep of environment.
No, but why don't you stop these projects from coming up while they're still coming? Why is it that after thousands of crores have been spent, after 3 or 4 years of construction, then the project gets held up? Your concerns are valid, but shouldn't the project be
now
stalled?
You're talking about 2 or 3 projects. I have no idea why they were not stopped. The point is, even then, I can say why I wouldn't do it. It is, you have to beware. If you're going ahead and you know it's against the law, then you have to be prepared for the consequences. Now, I cannot be told, therefore, this is, you know, I am now the custodian of the forests of the country, which are something that can never be replaced. No amount of compensatory afforestation is going to give you back a virgin forest. How long will it take for a tree of 60 centimeters girth to grow in this country? It's going to take 100 years. You cannot do compensatory afforestation. And therefore, I am now told, okay, we've spent all this money, now I need this coal block. I have a second issue here. We have given, I have the figures right there. I can produce them and show them to you. People say that we are a hurdle. As far as power is concerned, we've given 1,85,000 megawatts worth of clearances. Okay. The target for the next for the 12th 5-year plan, the target for the 12th 5-year plan is 1 lakh megawatts of power generation. And this Environment Ministry, my predecessors and I, have given 1,85,000 megawatts. Even if you take out forest clearances, people will say, what about forest? You're talking about environment. Take out the forest. 1,50,000 megawatts. 1.5 times your target for the next 5 years. What have been done with those clearances? Are they being used to capacity? Should we not use it to capacity? Should we go around cutting more forests? Should industrialists not use what clearances have already been given rather than destroy the natural wealth of the country? Do we not all have a responsibility to protect that natural wealth? I will tell you what I feel as Environment Minister. And I'm saying this on the basis of statistics. You can look at my website. I challenge anybody to say that environment is a hurdle on the path of development. It's wrong. We do not delay. And if we delay, please show me that project when we will clear it or not clear it tomorrow.
Okay.
This should not be a byword for somebody else not doing due diligence, for somebody else saying destroy everything in their impatience to get to a point of development which has no concern for environment integrity. That is not fair to the people of the country.
Okay, Mohandas Pai has an alternate point of view. He has a question for you, Minister.
When will the Environment Ministry learn to trust India's private sector and put in transparent norms so that we can have a dialogue and we can get along with the job of setting up industries and growth? When will you stop treating us as anti-environment and treating us as somebody that you do not trust? Please trust us and let's work together.
No, I'd love to work together. I have in fact suggested, and unfortunately my suggestion has not found much favor with anyone, that just like corporate social responsibility, there should be corporate environment responsibility, that large corporations should declare voluntarily to the people of the nation, to their shareholders, what they've done for the environment, what is their carbon footprint, what exactly have they done with the coal, with the power, with all the permissions they've received, so that the people know how they are, how environmentally responsible and sustainable they are being. Environment Ministry certainly trusts the corporate.
No, but Mr. Pai has a relevant question. It's now become a situation of animosity between the Environment Ministry and India Inc. It is almost perceived that everyone in India Inc. hates the environment, wants to go chop off trees because they are greedy to extract mineral wealth. The fact is, if it were a relationship of equals, if it were a partnership, wouldn't we actually achieve end results much better than in a situation of hostility?
You know, those environmentalists who are sitting here today, Rahul, would do well to ask me, how many projects have we actually rejected? You're talking, I'm now doing a self goal in a sense. Maybe one, maybe two. We hardly reject anything. Why is India Inc. upset? I don't understand.
Why do you think they're upset?
I have no idea, because you know we have given
They're
them
very upset with you.
we have given them, I believe no, I believe that we have given them no cause to be upset. I believe if they got their facts straight, you know, if some company has withdrawn from a road project citing environment hurdles, I believe you should ask them.
But the Prime
that
Minister
is really an environment hurdle.
was so upset with you that they actually created a new National Investment Board, which ultimately got renamed the Cabinet Committee of Investments, so that the Environment Ministry and Jayathi Natarajan wouldn't continue to squat on files. That's why the NIB got
No, but then, you know, I've repeatedly said, Rahul, I've repeatedly said to everybody that we do not sit on, there are no files which are pending. And every time you see, the problem is that sometimes I believe, and this is not television media, I'm not blaming you, I'm not saying this because you're standing in front of me, this is more the print media. People keep saying as if there's a confrontation, and I keep saying, but which is the file which is pending? What are we sitting on? Nobody is able to come up with an answer yet. I'm saying you can track it. We put up our minutes on the website, we put up our clearances on the website, we put up the conditions on the website. I'm sorry, if you want me to stand up and give you whatever you want on a plate, that is not happening. You need to tell me why you want it, you need to follow the rules. You have a right to ask me if the file is kept too long. You have a right to say, let it be transparent. He's right, it should be, it is. It is transparent. How much more transparent can I be when everything is put up on the website?
But when Jairam Ramesh was moved out, everybody thought he was moved out because he was acting as an obstacle, and you were being brought in because you would be more movable, move files faster. You haven't lived up to that expectation at all.
But we are moving the files faster, and he was moving the files fast. I am moving the files fast. We are doing a job of protecting the environment to the best of our ability, and also contributing to the development of the nation.
This lady here.
Before I start my question, I think it's a deliberate spin that's being given in the media, and I'm not sure how it's going to be countered. That industry is suffering somehow from the Environment Ministry. My question is, with this massive expansion of coal, there is immense pressure to open up vast tracts of forest areas for coal mining, and that leads to forest destruction, biodiversity destruction, etc. Your ministry came up with a proposal to demarcate certain areas called inviolate areas, which would be off limits for mining. There have been recent reports in the media that indicate that the group of ministers that's looking at this proposal, has rejected it. Is this true, and why?
Well, the proceedings of the group of ministers is supposed to be confidential, but I want to tell you my views. I believe very strongly, and this is the reason why I put it up on my website, the parameters for violet and inviolate areas. And when we discussed it earlier, my senior colleagues in the group of ministers did agree with me that there must be some areas of our forests which should be inviolate, and it should be done on scientific parameters. So I put it up on the website. It's been now 60 days. We've received a large number of comments from various stakeholders. Certainly, my colleagues in the group of ministers have a right to their views. We will discuss it further. But as Minister for Environment, it is my mandate to ensure that our forests are protected. And I personally will strain every nerve to see that my inviolate areas are protected.
Okay. The lady there.
Ma'am, I have a question on the Goa iron ore mining.
Yeah.
once the Justice M.B. Shah Commission report came out and said that there are violations, said there are a number of illegalities in the state, mining has been shut down. State and center both are saying no mining for now. I know center came up and said that till time all the mine lease holders come up and submit satisfactory information, you're not going to let them start operations again. I'm just wondering what's happening to that, and would this, and I know there's a committee sitting on this, so would that committee also take into account the recommendations that the Shah Commission report gave in terms of, limiting the mining that will happen in Goa in terms of eco-sensitive zones? Goa has a sanctuary, and I know that a lot of mines do fall in these sanctuaries. Is there some thought process in that line within this committee?
Okay, there are 2-3 important issues that you've raised, and one is, first of all, the Goa mines were shut down by the Chief Minister of Goa. He said that he's discovered that they're all illegal and he shut them down. I happened to visit Goa in some other connection the next day, and I said, well, if the Chief Minister of Goa thinks that it's all illegal, well, then we'll suspend their environment clearances until we find out, because the Chief Minister, the state of Goa is the owner of the land on which the mines are situated. So I issued orders suspending the environment clearances, and thereafter the Supreme Court has ordered a stay. So now we are in a situation where the Supreme Court has stayed the entire thing. I've set up a committee to examine each mine. The 139 mines were shut. I've set up a committee to examine the legality of each mine. However, despite at last count 7 reminders, including a desperate letter from me, the Chief Minister of Goa has not responded, where I'm asking what is the because if it is within a prohibited area of an eco-sensitive zone of a sanctuary, that mine is illegal. It cannot be allowed. So I have desperately asked the Chief Minister, but I have received no reply from the state. So therefore now my committee is sitting waiting with all the facts, waiting for the state government to come back with the details.
He's the one who first asked these mines to be stopped, the work to stop.
Yeah, but
now he's changed his mind. Once you come into power, then you don't have the same conviction you had when you just got elected.
I think he was, I don't want to make this into a political thing. I think he thought he could wrest the advantage and open such mines that he thought would be useful. But now the matter's in the Supreme Court, and now he has to take a hard decision on what is an eco-sensitive zone. Is it going to be 10 kilometers, which is a default area, 1 kilometer? Some of the mines are within the national park and they have to be closed down. But if it's 1 kilometer, Goa is a small state, but he will not tell us. And until the state decides what it is, we'll not be able to take a call. My committee is sitting and waiting for this information. Once we get that information and we decide on the legality of the mine, I will have to move the Supreme Court and ask them to allow us to give permission for the mines, legal mines, to start.
Okay. Gentleman here.
Ma'am, I was an expert member of the committee which gave clearances to the mining projects for 6 years. And I agree with you that we rejected very few cases. One thing I found that the proponents as well as the consultants were not paying much attention to the health protection of the workers as well as the community. And I think it's high time that your ministry and Central Pollution Control Board start educating both the proponents, the consultants on the issue of environmental health. Do you think that it's an idea which is very important and we should be pursued by your ministry, because Ministry of Health doesn't take much interest in the environmental health?
I don't know what you mean by environmental health. I think the way I see environmental health is to lay down conditions, for the air quality to be monitored, water quality to be monitored, make sure that critically polluted areas are not polluted further by more industries. How much further than that we can go, I think we need to understand our capability in this regard in a much deeper way. I'm not quite sure what you mean by environmental health of the workers, because that would come under an entirely different category.
What I mean to say is that when these limits are exceeded and breached, then they have a tremendous impact on the health of the workers.
But when the environment limits are breached, then they will have to comply with the proper limits. Otherwise, we will have to shut them down.
Okay.
Ma'am, we keep making environment laws and we keep making new laws each day, but the enforcement has been very poor, and without enforcement these laws are as good as being non-existent. So how does your ministry plan to actually improve the enforcement of environment laws?
Yeah, we don't make them every day or anything, but yes, compliance is very, every time we give an environment clearance to a mine or to an industry, you're absolutely right. There are a list of regulations that have to be followed, and every time they come up for renewal, the license, I ask if there has been compliance, but the compliance is, the monitoring is poor. I do have to admit that we have to, we don't have the personnel, but we need to do it much more strongly, and we will need to depend upon the state boards to do it.
Well, I have to ask an important question from the implemented, from a regulating agency, that is State Pollution Control Board and Central Pollution Control Board. India is passing through a very important era where a balance has to be made between development and environment conservation. Number of industries are going exponentially in last 20 years, but the manpower in Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board is more or less same. Now, what Ministry of Environment and Planning, Ministry of Environment and Forest is planning to do to make CPCB and SPCB more effective and more authoritative?
I'm planning to do a dharna outside the Finance Minister's office to get us more staff.
All these people here say they are prepared to join you, ma'am. So you've got at least 200 people who
that
come sit
was
with
in a
you.
lighter vein. We don't.
No, but you must push, Mr. Chidambaram.
We
Both
don't
of you
have
come
the
from
staff.
the same state.
We are doing our best. I'm telling you, my budget is 2,000 crores. My predecessor in the Environment Ministry, who is now Rural Development Minister, his budget is 40,000 crores. Okay. Environment Ministry's budget for all the questions you've asked is 2,000 crores.
Okay.
We do our best.
We're out of time. On the Right to be Heard Town Hall, Jayathi Natarajan, for taking on so many questions, for being honest in your responses and promising to act on what you've heard the people tell you today. Thank you very much, and thank you all very much for coming and participating in this program. Thank you very much. We're slipping into a break. News and updates continue.